A blizzard was coming. My boyfriend, who worked as a mountain guide, insisted on waiting for Sarah to return to the group before leading us down the mountain. Wanting to save everyone's lives, I pleaded with him to let us go first. He hesitated, but eventually agreed. Unexpectedly, Sarah ended up trapped in a cave and froze to death because she didn't wait for rescue. My boyfriend said he didn't regret saving me and my friend and even proposed to me. But on the night of our engagement, he snapped. He broke my legs, dragged me up the snowy mountain and screamed, "If you hadn't insisted on going down, Sarah wouldn't have died. She was the daughter of the richest man. 10 of you don't even compare to her." He said that when Sarah died, she was naked and her belly was full of snow. Then he told me, "I want you to feel the same pain." He tore off my clothes and shoved me into a snowdrift. When I was frozen stiff, he dragged me to a cliff and threw me off. My body shattered like ice. When I opened my eyes again, it was the day of the avalanche all over again. He still wanted to wait for Sarah, who was pretending to be the daughter of a billionaire. Fine. Let's wait. I respected fate this time. "James, the blizzard is coming. We have to go down now or we'll die here," I urged. One of my colleagues glanced at the sky, sensing danger. James shook his head. "Sarah hasn't returned yet." The snow was already falling hard. The howling wind made everyone uneasy. "What are we even waiting for? Didn't she say this place feels like home?" "Then let her find her way back by herself," someone complained. "Yeah, we should have gone down an hour ago." "She only left because she wanted to take pictures. If she wants to throw her life away, that's her choice. Why drag us into it?" The grumbling stopped the moment James shot them a cold glare. "If you don't want to wait, then go." "I'm not stopping anyone." "That's easy for you to say," one snapped. "You're the only one who knows this route. If you don't lead us down, who can?" "Then shut your damn mouth," James barked. "If Sarah doesn't come back, I'm not going anywhere." "You're insane. We all came up here together, and now you're willing to let us die for her? She's just a kid. She should have never come on this trip if she couldn't handle it." The group grew furious. One of my closer colleagues tugged on my sleeve. "Emily, say something. Make him listen to you." I shook my head. He's right. Sarah came up the mountain with us. We can't just leave her behind. The others looked horrified. "Emily, how could you say that? We trusted you, and that's why we hired your boyfriend. But now you're both betraying us. We're reporting this when we get back." James smirked at my response, walked over, and put his arm around me. "Who are you trying to threaten? Anyone opens their mouth again, I'll toss you off this mountain." All of us were researchers from the Glacier Institute, sent to collect ice core samples from this region. When I first saw the location, I recommended James to the company. The day before our trip, James claimed the mountain terrain was too complex and our group was too large, so we needed another guide. That's how Sarah joined us. She said she was short on money and wanted to earn a little extra. A local girl, she knew this mountain like the back of her hand. At first, everyone liked her. She was bubbly and always smiling, making the atmosphere in the van lively. But once we started hiking, things changed. Though technically a guide, Sarah acted like she was on a vacation. She clung to James, laughed, and took pictures nonstop. The rest of us had to pause every 30 minutes just to wait for the two of them. We were here to work, not play. Every minute we lost meant getting off the mountain later. After Sarah pushed it too far, someone warned her they'd report her to James if she kept goofing off. James eventually told her to find a spot to take photos on her own while he led us to the sampling site. After we collected the samples, the snow started to fall. One person suggested going down immediately, but James made us wait for more than an hour. No one dared object after he spoke. The wind grew fiercer. Just as someone considered leaving on their own, Sarah reappeared. "Brother James, I knew you'd wait for me," she smiled. James looked relieved, but before he could respond, someone shouted, "Avalanche!" A mass of snow broke free from the rock face, barreling toward us like a white tsunami. My colleagues froze in place, their eyes wide. Even Sarah and James looked terrified. But before the snow hit, I shouted, "This way. There's a cave." That snapped everyone out of it. They followed me to the nearby cave, barely making it inside before the avalanche buried the entrance in snow. Darkness surrounded us. What now? Someone asked. Are we going to die here? Blame quickly turned to anger. If it weren't for those two troublemakers, we'd be home by now. I turned on the emergency flashlight I'd packed, filling the space with light. When someone finally saw Sarah clearly, they lost control and swung at her. This is all your fault. James jumped in front of her. What's the point of hitting a girl? If you want to hit someone, hit me. Gladly, someone growled, fists raised. Tempers flared. Some people turned their fury on me. Emily, don't act innocent. You're the one who recommended this clown. We trusted you. I opened my mouth to calm them down, but before I could say anything, Sarah, seeing James overwhelmed and about to be hit, suddenly yelled, Don't touch Brother James. If this continues, I won't help you. Everyone stopped. You have a way out of here? Someone asked. Sarah nodded and raised her wristwatch. See this watch? My father made it for me. If I'm ever in danger, it automatically sends out an emergency signal, Sarah said, raising her wrist. It already triggered during the avalanche. My family will send a rescue team within 3 days. The cave fell silent. Someone scoffed. A broken watch? You sound like you're in some kind of drama. How could anything send a signal in this weather? Then another voice hesitated. Wait. I think I've heard about a watch like that. The daughter of the richest man has one just like it. She's into extreme sports, and her father had it custom-made for her. Everyone turned to stare. Are you that daughter? Sarah lowered her head shyly. My dad told me not to reveal my identity. That was all the confirmation they needed. James didn't look pleased. Sarah, I thought we agreed not to tell anyone. Sorry, Brother James, she blinked, almost innocently. I just didn't want them to hit you. Then she added sweetly, if we make it out, I'll ask my father to give everyone some hush money. The moment they heard that, the group's mood shifted. Knowing she might be their lifeline and that money was involved, they lit up. Only I stood in the corner, frowning. The daughter of the richest man really did have a rescue watch like that, but it was on my wrist, and as far as I knew, my father didn't just have one daughter. Seeing the way James looked at her with such adoration, I remembered what happened in my previous life. Sarah died, and James received a suicide note from her. In it, she confessed she'd loved him for a long time but had never dared to say anything because of me. She didn't want to be the other woman. After reading that note, James walked outside, smoked a full pack of cigarettes, and then came back and proposed to me. I thought he was just grieving or realizing he loved me more. But later that night, on the way to our engagement party, he dragged me into the snowy mountains and killed me. At the time, I believed it was guilt or emotional confusion. Now I wasn't so sure. It seemed much more likely he believed Sarah was the daughter of the richest man all along and he treated her like royalty because of it. He murdered me because I stood in the way of his perfect life, wealth, power, and a beautiful heiress. Thinking of this, I let out a cold laugh. I wonder when James finds out Sarah isn't who he thinks she is, will he treat her the way he treated me? After everyone accepted that Sarah was their rich daughter and their only hope for survival, the flattery came quickly. They cleared out the warmest, cleanest space for her. Sarah had bragged earlier that she liked to travel light and didn't pack anything but a hiking pole. When she later complained about being hungry and thirsty, people rushed to hand her bottled water and chocolate. She happily munched away and said she'd repay everyone 10 times the value once they were rescued. Food and water were one thing, but when night fell and temperatures dropped to -20 or 30 degrees Celsius, things got real. No one wanted to part with their sleeping bags. Giving one up in this kind of cold was basically a death sentence. No matter how high Sarah raised her price, no one gave in. Then she burst into tears and clung to James. Brother James, I'm going to freeze to death, James consoled her softly, but then I saw his eyes flick to me. He walked over. Emily, give her your sleeping bag. I didn't even hesitate. No, but he reached for it anyway. Panicked, I snapped. James, are you insane? If you give her my bag, where am I supposed to sleep? You expect me to just tough it out? Everyone's counting on her, he said. Don't be difficult. The others, clearly scared of James, chimed in too. Come on, Emily, don't be selfish. You brought more than enough. Just wear extra clothes and lean on someone. You'll be fine. No one stood up for me. My sleeping bag was yanked away. Sarah took it, smiling sweetly, and came over. Thank you for lending it to me. If you want, we can share. This isn't lending. I cut her off coldly. And that bag fits one person. I pulled out a down coat and a thick jacket from my pack. Thankfully, I'd prepared for the worst. Sarah noticed my clothes and her expression darkened. I bundled up and closed my eyes, trying to conserve energy. Not long after, her voice rang out again. Brother James, the first feel sick. I heard the rustling of movement and James's low voice. Sarah, you've got a low-grade fever. I'm freezing. Brother James, could you find me some clothes? I opened my eyes. She was looking straight at me. James walked over and held out his hand. Give me your coat. No, I growled. She wants clothes? Give her yours. James didn't argue. He lunged and tried to rip my jacket off. I collapsed onto the ground, clinging tightly to my zipper. James, if you tear my coat off, I swear to God I'll never forgive you. He paused for a second, just a second, then continued pulling. Forgiveness be damned. He yanked off my jacket and threw it over Sarah. Even then, she whimpered. I'm still cold. James turned back for my down jacket. Sarah, I snapped. Are you doing this on purpose? I don't think you're cold at all. You just want me to die. Sarah pouted. Brother James, forget it. I'll just freeze. The more innocent she acted, the more furious James became. He grabbed at me again and I bit his hand as hard as I could. He screamed, then slapped me across the face. Emily, don't be shameless. Letting the daughter of the richest man wear your coat should be an honor. I shouted back. She's not the daughter of the richest man. The real one is. Don't just stand there. Sarah shrieked. Help Brother James. She's gone crazy. My co-workers had been silent until now, but her shrill voice pushed them into action. Miss Emily, please just stop. If she freezes, we all die here. Either she dies or I do, Sarah whispered. No one's leaving otherwise. That was all it took. The moment she said that, the others closed in. Hands grabbed at my sleeves, my back, my arms. One by one, the layers I'd prepared were stripped away. The cold stabbed into my bones like 1,000 knives. I curled up, shivering violently. Someone whispered, I'm sorry, as they handed my last coat to Sarah. I was shaking so badly, I couldn't even respond. Within seconds, my skin turned a sickly shade of blue from the cold. I looked at all of them and whispered through chattering teeth, I'm the real daughter of the richest man. You'll regret this. Someone scoffed. What a joke. When did your dad ever have a daughter like you? Sarah glanced at the watch on my wrist, then snatched it off, clearly trying to pass herself off as me. You really went all out with this act, I muttered. Brother James, she's clearly delusional, Sarah said sweetly. Let's help her snap out of it. James immediately caught her meaning.
Fine.
I'll bury her in the snow. That should calm her down.
No.
James, you can't do this to me. I screamed, terror clawing at my throat. The memory of freezing to death in my last life hit me like a wave. It was so cold. I could already feel my mind going numb. I begged, pleaded, cried, but James didn't flinch. He coldly ordered a few others to grab me and throw me into the snow at the edge of the cave. But just then, a loud crash echoed through the space. The wall of snow at the cave entrance collapsed inward. Several men in black winter jackets stepped in, one of them calling out, Miss, we're here to take you home. Snow swirled around their boots as they entered, and beneath the howling wind, the distant thumping of helicopter blades filled the air. Everyone gasped. We're saved. We're saved. The man in front, Michael, had a sharp jaw and cold eyes. He scanned the group and barked, Where is my lady? Here. James rushed forward with Sarah in his arms. She has a fever. We need to get her to a hospital, now. He was overly eager, practically glowing with pride. But Sarah's face turned ghostly pale as the rescuers approached. She curled into my coat, trying to hide her face. Michael paused. Something wasn't right. He recognized the coat immediately, and although Sarah's figure was similar, something felt off. He yanked the coat open without a second thought. James exploded. What the hell are you doing? That's your young lady you're manhandling. Do you want to lose your job? My young lady? Michael sneered. You really think she is my young lady? James blinked in confusion. What do you mean? I mean, Michael said darkly, she's not my young lady. Not even close. He grabbed Sarah roughly by the collar. Where is she? I don't know her. I don't know who you're talking about. Sarah stammered, shaking like a leaf. Michael narrowed his eyes. Then how did you get her clothes? What? James paled. That coat belongs to your young lady. What's her name, then? Michael snapped. Tell me her name. What does her name have to do with you? James tried to deflect. Michael wasn't playing games. He pulled out a small tracking device, glanced at it, then scanned the cave. His eyes locked onto Sarah's wrist. Where did you get that watch? He growled. Sarah was quick on her feet now. It was a gift. From a kind young lady. Are you looking for her? She already went down the mountain. We've been trapped here ever since. Please help us. Her pitiful expression didn't fool Michael. He turned to the others. Is what this woman says true? Did my lady go down the mountain already? Suddenly, the weight of guilt and fear hit the group. They exchanged glances. The truth was obvious now. I was the real daughter. But they had stripped me, left me in the snow, and now I might already be dead. Everyone remembered the stories that the richest man loved his daughter like his own soul, and Michael clearly didn't look like the type to forgive betrayal. One man stepped forward with clenched fists. Yes. Emily's your lady, right? We're her co-workers. She left early. She was worried about us, so she left behind some supplies. One by one, the others echoed the lie. She gave us her things. She said she'd come back. Please, just take us off this mountain. Michael didn't fully buy it, but his priority was Clearm. Fine. Pack your things, he said coldly. The group scrambled to obey. As they filed out, Michael took one last look back into the cave. That's when I stirred. My body was on fire and my mind foggy, but I heard Michael's voice through the haze. I raised a frozen hand from the snow and croaked, Michael, save me. Michael had brought medics with him. They rushed to my side, immediately working to stabilize me. Luckily, I hadn't been exposed too long. My core temperature had dropped dangerously low, but I was alive. I heard Michael's voice close to my ear as he wrapped me in layer after layer of clothes, his hands trembling with rage and relief. Outside, the people who had been loaded onto the helicopter were suddenly brought back. The atmosphere inside the cave turned tense. James knelt beside me with fake concern. Emily, are you okay? As if on cue, everyone followed his lead, concerned voices, outstretched hands, worried eyes. Someone even tried to take off their coat to cover me. I let out a bitter laugh. You're really going to pretend now? Like you didn't just throw me out into the snow? They froze. Every face dropped. Michael's fists clenched. Miss, these people dumped you in the snow, he said in a dangerously calm voice. Michael wasn't just any Monty, had saved his life once, pulled him out of a street fight when he was bleeding to death. He owed me everything, and when he was angry, he looked like he could burn the world down. Everyone stepped back. I reached out and stopped him. Forget it, Michael. I just want to go home. I'm tired. He nodded, picked me up gently, and started walking toward the exit. We barely made it 2 steps before someone blocked our way. You can't leave like this, someone cried out. What about us? You have to take us too. Yeah, others shouted. You can't just abandon us. I turned, stunned. You treated me like trash, and now you expect me to save you? Emily, please. We made a mistake. We were misled. We're your colleagues who work together. Don't let us die here, one of them begged. I smiled coldly. Now I'm your colleague? Where was that loyalty when you stripped me and left me to die? You think I'm some kind of saint because I'm rich? You've been watching too many dramas. Whether you live or die has nothing to do with me. With that, I turned my back on them and left. The wind and snow outside howled like wild beasts, fierce and merciless. Most of their food and water had already been ruined either by the cold or by Sarah and James's earlier selfishness. Everyone knew deep down this was their last, desperate chance at survival. In a final fit of panic, some of them rushed toward the helicopter, trying to board by force. Don't be afraid, someone yelled. There's more of us than them. Emily, if you won't take us, then no one's leaving. But how could a pack of panicked civilians ever stand a chance against trained bodyguards? Within seconds, they were all restrained and forced to the ground. Their defiance evaporated into begging. One by one, they dropped to their knees in the snow. "Miss Emily, please, show some mercy. For old time's sake, take us with you." Some even kowtowed, their foreheads thudding loudly against the frozen ground. I stared down at them with ice in my veins. "You're dreaming."
That was all I said.
For words. That was enough. James, who'd been in a daze until now, suddenly snapped out of it. He ran to me, grabbing my wrist. "Emily, why didn't you tell me who you really were? You can't leave me like this. We're a couple, remember? You're my girlfriend, Ree, supposed to be together forever. I want to marry you." He looked so desperate, eyes bloodshot, voice cracking. For a moment, I remembered. We'd met back in college. He was the star of the sports school next door. I was young, naive, and stupid enough to fall in love at first sight. But the fantasy crumbled fast. Turned out, he had a so-called childhood friend who followed him everywhere. Sarah. They'd cling to each other in front of me, touching, whispering, and when I got jealous, James would scold me. "You're being narrow-minded," he'd say. "Sarah and I are just friends. Don't ruin it." So I swallowed my pride and endured. I became the third wheel in my own relationship. Every date, every outing, every trip, Sarah was always there. When we graduated, I begged James to marry me. Again and again he refused. Said he wasn't ready. In my last life, I finally learned the truth. Sarah didn't want him to marry me, and he obeyed her like a lapdog. Thinking of all that now, I sneered. "Forget you? How could I?" I yanked my arm away. "We're done, James." His pupils shook as he tried to rush forward again, but Michael stepped in, slamming him to the ground. "You don't get to call her by name," he growled. "To you, she's Mississippi." He patted James's head like a dog. "Get that through your thick skull." James looked up at me, eyes wet. "Emily, I love you. There must be some misunderstanding. Don't abandon me. Think of everything we've been through." "Misunderstanding?" I laughed coldly. "You mean your affair with Sarah? Or the part where you stripped me naked and tossed me into the snow like garbage?" "That's not what happened," he shouted. "It's not what it looks like. Emily, I only ever loved you." I didn't even bother replying. I stood tall and addressed the whole group. "You all want to leave with me? Funny. There's only one seat left on my helicopter. Who wants it?" A hush fell. Then, chaos erupted. I gave Michael a single look. He nodded, scooped me up, and carried me to the helicopter. As we lifted off, the fighting began behind us. The so-called professionals, who once complained about a little frostbite or sore feet, were now brawling like animals. James, with his sports background, fought his way through the crowd. Bloodied, panting, wounded, was still faster than the rest. Just as he was about to reach the helicopter, Sarah lunged from the side and cracked a rock over his skull. He staggered, stunned. "Sarah, you," he whispered, eyes wide with betrayal. Sarah didn't even glance at him. She sprinted toward me, triumphant. "I won. I beat them. Take me with you." I was about to sidestep her when James, bleeding and bruised, grabbed her ankle. "You're not going anywhere." "Let me go." "You're insane," Sarah shrieked, kicking at him. Her whole fake demeanor had bled no more sweetness, no more innocence. Just pure, raw panic. "Brother James," she whined. "Didn't you say you loved me? Let me go. I'm just a girl, I'll die here." James stared up at her, seething. "You lied to me. You said you were the daughter of the richest man. I can't leave, and now neither can you." "I never said that," she screeched. "You just assumed. Let me go." She slapped him across the face. Watching them slap and scream at each other like an old married couple was honestly the most entertaining part of the day. Meanwhile, another colleague tried to make a break for the chopper. Michael and I exchanged a glance, and without a word, he secured the doors. The helicopter took off, slicing through the snowy sky with a roar. I looked down through the window and saw James and Sarah chasing after us, waving frantically. When I didn't respond, they turned on each other again, clawing, screaming, falling in the snow. After I got home, I told Michael to call the police. We handed over the exact coordinates of the cave. The snowfall had been intense, and the rescue team didn't arrive until 10 days later. Only then did I learn how dire things had gotten. Even my father, who had always believed I could survive anything with my outdoor skills, admitted that if Michael hadn't gone, I wouldn't have made it. He'd set out knowing the risks, knowing he might not come back. Michael, I whispered one evening, thank you. I would have died without you. He smiled faintly. You paid me well. I was just doing my job. Plenty of people get paid, I said. Doesn't mean they'd risk their life. When the rescue team finally found the cave, they discovered not everyone had survived. 2 people were missing, Sarah and another man. According to the survivors, the 2 of them had tried to leave after 3 days. They never returned. But strangely, the remaining survivors' men who had gone without food for 10 days didn't look pale or thin. Not at all. Strangely, none of them looked like they had starved for 10 days. Their faces were still rosy, their bodies not visibly weakened. After everything that had happened, my father no longer trusted the character of my so-called colleagues. He told me to resign from the institute and opened a biotech company for me, asking me to take over. I thought the entire nightmare was behind me. But a month later, James and the others were discharged from the hospital, and suddenly, the internet exploded. They posted dramatic videos, claiming they'd been trapped in the snowy mountains and that I had intentionally refused to save them. Overnight, I became the villain. James wept on camera, saying I forced them to fight like gladiators to earn a seat on the helicopter. They painted me as a heartless heiress, someone who toyed with lives for amusement. And in today's world, where hate against the rich spreads like wildfire, their lies took root easily. People started boycotting my company. The comments were full of outrage. She has no conscience. If it were my child trapped there, I'd sue her to death. In the middle of all this, James called me, smug as ever. Emily, he said, if you don't wire me a nice little sum, I'll release everything. You and your precious dad are finished. This story's already big. Imagine what happens next. I laughed. James, did you forget that you tried to kill me before the rescue even came? But you didn't die, he snapped. We're the ones who suffered. 10 days in a blizzard. You used your wealth to walk over our corpses. Just wait until I tell the full story. Do you really think the netizens will side with you over us? Even the police won't protect you then. I don't know what the police will do to me, I replied calmly, but I do know they won't let you go. After all, you do know what happened to Sarah and the other guy, don't you? Silence. Then panic in his voice. We didn't do anything. Don't you dare accuse us. There's no proof. His denial only confirmed everything. Not long after that call, someone came knocking on my door. Investigators. They wanted to clarify what had really happened. Even if you were mistreated, they said, some are arguing that you shouldn't have ignored lives in danger. I smiled. Ignored them? My helicopter could only take one person. I called the police as soon as I got back. I even arranged for a second rescue mission. But the weather was so bad we couldn't make it up. I have call logs, recordings, even Michael's testimony. He risked his life to save me, not them. I also contacted their families. None of them volunteered to go up. I showed them everything: evidence, files, messages. One of my coworkers who had been with me also came forward online, supporting my story. He apologized publicly for what he'd done, admitting that I was right to do what I did. Public opinion turned almost overnight. If I were in her shoes, I wouldn't have helped them either. Let those animals rot. Extreme situations reveal true human nature, and theirs is disgusting. As the stock price of my company climbed again, the police arrested James and the others. My instincts had been correct. The authorities found 2 skeletal remains under unmelted snow inside the cave. A woman and a slim man. DNA confirmed it was Sarah and another colleague. When people are cornered, society's rules collapse. What remains is survival of the fittest. I didn't follow the news about James after that. I'd already buried that part of my life. My company was running well. Then one day, Michael came to me and handed in his resignation. I looked at him, surprised.
Why?
Tired of me already? I joked. You make more money than most college grads. What's next? He shook his head. I want to go to college.
Now.
I laughed. You're years past the typical age. I know, he said, serious now. But I want to stand on equal ground with you. I froze. I always knew he had feelings for me. What I hadn't realized was how much he'd done behind the scenes. He had completed all his entrance exam prep on his own and been accepted into my alma mater. I want to earn the right to pursue you, he said. I looked at him for a long time. So, you want me to wait a few years? He panicked. No. Please don't wait. You're free to meet anyone. I just want a chance. If that day comes, I'll fight for it. Love really does make people humble. Back then, I thought I wasn't good enough for James, so I tolerated everything. Now, Michael thought he wasn't good enough for me. I sighed. Let's stop worrying about one day. I stepped closer. Why don't you start pursuing me now? He looked up, stunned. I smiled. I'll say yes.